Welcome to this evening's City Council, September 26, 2016. Whoops. Let me get to the top of the page here. I'm not doing that. Okay, this evening's invocation will be by Councilman Ivory Van, then join us for the flag salute.
May we bow our heads, please. Dear Lord, just thank you this evening, dear Lord, just for letting us live to see another day. And our Heavenly Father, it's a sad day in our city. We have lost Vernon Martin. He's a well-known employee of the city. And just, Lord, just put your hands of protection around his family, dear Lord, in this time of sorrow. Help him, Lord, to realize that you're God above all gods and there is no other, and you still are in control. And just bless our city, dear Lord. Help us to all get along and just love each other. And just thank you for all the blessings. And bless all the other people in the world that's having problems, Lord. Let them still know that you're God and there is no other. And also this evening, dear Lord, just keep us healthy and keep us strong as a city. So we ask all these blessings in your name for your sake. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us for the flag salute. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman. Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Move that we excuse Councilor Coleman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to excuse Councilman Coleman. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. We'll now consider our regular session minutes for September 12th and then special call for September the 20th. And we'll consider those together. Are there additions or corrections? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
And a motion and a second regarding the minutes. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to move between items 1 through 6 from consent agenda to regular agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments on the consent agenda? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7.
Hold a public hearing and take action on the approval of an ordinance rezoning the property located on the southeast corner of 11th Street and Shawnee Avenue, more particularly described in the ordinance, from C2 General Commercial District to C3 Regional Commercial District, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin, and we will consider ourselves in a public hearing.
Ms. Callahan will be
Tish.
taking that over.
I'll be Mr. Garvin for a moment.
Okay?
This is a request from the Linda Roberts Trust to rezone from the C2 to the C3. The C2 is a general commercial district and the C3 is a regional commercial district. The property is located on the southeast corner of 11th and Shawnee. And the request is to allow a billboard sign to be located on the property and to also comply with the comprehensive plan and the land use map that has been adopted by the city. The current zoning of the site is C2, and it currently has retail, office, the UPS facility, and mini storage facilities. To the north is zone C1 and C3. It's the Chick-fil-A restaurant and also the west end of Walmart. To the south is zoned C2 and R1, and right now there's the Performance Plus, and then there's a vacant building. To the east is currently zoned the C3. It is the Three Rivers Plaza within the urban renewal area. And to the west is C2, and it has Cooper's Furniture. The land use map indicates regional commercial zoning along the Shawnee Avenue, which is the Highway 62 corridor. So rezoning to the C3 Regional Commercial District does comply with the land use map and the comprehensive plan that's been adopted by the City of Muskogee. Staff, Planning Commission, and Public Works Committee have all recommended approval. And the applicant is here with his representative, Ron Wright. If you have any questions.
No one had signed up to speak to this item, so we will close the public hearing. Council have question or comments regarding this item?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries, and we'll make it home in time for the bait. Item number 8.
Consider approval of final payment to Crawford Roofing in the amount of $19,278.70 for the re-roofing of the Muskogee Public Library, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Callahan.
Yes, and I will refer this to Billy Coffer with the Facilities Management to make that presentation. He's been in the midst of it.
Thank you. Like to ask you to consider final payment to the Crawford Roofing in the amount of $19,278.70 for the re-roofing of the Muskogee Public Library. The original contract price was $176,919. There was one change order because of bad decking. Change order was in the amount of $15,868. Total cost of the project ended up being $192,787. The item was budgeted through CIP and capital outlay. Crawford Roofing provides a 2-year warranty on all materials and workmanship furnished by them. Carlisle Golden Seal Total Roofing Systems provides a 30-year warranty with a 4-inch hail warranty on the roof system. The roofing consultant and city staff reviewed the project and recommending approval. Asking for Crawford Roofing in the amount of $19,278.70. If there's any questions, be glad to try to answer.
Questions or comments?
Are you happy with the way the roof looks?
Yes, sir. Done
And
a
I'll
really
move
good
for
job.
approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Have we had a good rain test?
Yes, I think we've had a little bit of rain on it, no problems whatsoever.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9.
Consider approval of a resolution opposing the passage of State Question 777, prohibiting the Oklahoma legislature from passing laws abridging agriculture technology and livestock ranching practices, or take other necessary action.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes, I'm asking other counselors to support this no on State Question 777. There was 4 of us that went to the Oklahoma Municipal League, and one of the breakout sessions that I attended was this one on 777. And I saw it as the right to farm, and boy, that just makes sense. It's the right to farm. Very educational breakout session, and what I found out is this could have a very big detriment to the city of Muskogee, because this is very open-ended language in this state question, and the only way to appeal anything is to compelling state interest. So basically, it would remove our local rights. So anywhere in the city of Muskogee, somebody could say, I've got the right to farm, so they can move in next door, say, I want to do swine, and I've got the right to farm, and it would pretty well remove any of our ordinances that are in place. By the same thing that it could do, any types of pesticide use, it would just remove that possibility. So it would have a grave impact on our water quality in the end. I think the intent was right where there is a lot of laws that are made. I think the intent was there, but this was a sweeping law that came through, and it's very broad in language, and the only appeal is to compelling state interest. So with that, it is way too broad, and it totally removes our rights as a city, and it puts us in harm's way, really. So I would ask the City Council to support this. You will find that Tahlequah, Oklahoma Municipal League, any of the waterways in the state of Oklahoma have come out in opposition to this because of the sweeping language that is there. It does threaten our groundwater and a nuisance to that. I've attached a number of documents for resources to the City Council that help. There is a 26-page legal on it. Most of that's over my head, but I do understand where you can only appeal to the state in regard to that, but you can pretty well say I've got the right to farm, and it totally removes it. I did talk with a couple of people that are in support of it, and I do understand some of the challenges that they're having in the state of Oklahoma, where there is some urban spread and a farmer is existing there, and so he's out plowing his field and dust is coming up and it's coming into the urban spread, and there's some conflict. But this legislation here is far too widespread, and it is actually removing our rights as far as the city.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
It appears to me, is this the case that the big corporate farm lobbyists or whatever, there might have been some good intent up front, but their lawyers got a hold of this and kind of overdid the thing?
I think in some states there's been some problems, and because of that they think, let's just make sure and get the farthest amount of language we can get to make sure we have no problems at all. If it failed to pass, then they'll probably come back with something that will help with some of the challenges that they may have in the state of Oklahoma. A lot of these are local cases that they're having some challenges with, but this sweeping language here would be very detrimental to us and to the state.
Here's another question I have, and maybe the city attorney can help. I'm just curious. It seems to me, and I know that there's been problems, particularly in the Oklahoma City area, where growth has gone out to the farms so quickly, and then naturally, you know, a new homeowner and they got dust rolling through when they're farming their fields. Can't cities pass code or something to say, look, you know, they were here before us and they could continue to farm? Or
Most of the ordinances that the city passes do have grandfather provisions to allow existing uses to continue as long as they're maintained and continuing to operate. We have a number of islands within the city that do allow certain operations which otherwise by the land use map and the zoning would be prohibited. So we do have that ability, and those are in place.
okay. Well, from what I understand, which is not nearly as much as Mr. Johnson, but I think he's spot on the take on this.
Well, explain a couple of things. One was the anything prior to, I want to say December 31st of 2014 is grandfathered, and you basically can't touch it. But going forward, if there's a change made in an ordinance or a zoning, then there's not anything the city can do except this compelling state interest.
Correct.
And we do have agricultural zoning within the city limits. Did Gary by chance give you any update information? I'd asked him a couple of days ago, or maybe Thursday or Friday, to look into it.
So
Give us
what
his
it
thought.
is your existing zoning could be in place, but as you would change any of your zoning from that December the 31st, 2014, that would go away from that point. And that right to farm would supersede that.
Which sounds real nice. Right to farm.
I mean, it does, and there is, and the thing is, there is already a number. And if you're looking at the economy in the state of Oklahoma, we want the right to farm. And as far as an economic development in the state of Oklahoma, and that's one of the appeals here, is we want the state of Oklahoma to be farm friendly. You know, we want it to large farmers, but this sweeping language was just way too far when you actually remove all the ability and the only that compelling language. Let me see, what was the compelling state interest? That's really, and the thing to me, compelling state interest, that language didn't mean anything to me until the attorney started explaining how strong that language was and what that really meant, that's when it scared me. When they told me what that really meant, and that it pretty well removed all your local ability to do anything about it.
So, this is my question to Matt or Roy. We passed this. What does it do for? I mean, I need it broke down in some layman terms here because I'm not understanding this. Because are we putting out a deal in case everybody votes yes on it?
The resolution of support itself,
Just resolution of support.
this is just a statement saying that this city council opposes this as it is written.
Okay. Are we allowed to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You
because I knew
can.
that we weren't supposed to talk about political things up here a lot, but I just didn't know how this works.
You can on issues that are that originate in the legislature, issues that originate as ballot initiatives. Cities are prohibiting from speaking and taking a position on. For example, 780 and 781, which has to do with the reduction of certain drug offenses from felonies to misdemeanors. That was on the ballot based upon an initiative petition, and so we would not be allowed to take a position on that. But as this state question originated in the legislature as a constitutional amendment, we are allowed to take a position on it, and we've done so in the past on other bills that the legislature has put forward.
Thought I had included some of the other cities but I'm not finding
You
it
made
right
some
now.
statements that you did,
Choctaw, Midwest City, Oklahoma
you.
City.
Yeah.
but
National Wildlife Federation, Conservation Coalition of Oklahoma. There's a whole list of organizations.
because the way I was thinking of it is that if we voted yes for this, and the state voted yes for it, then we would say not in our area.
No.
Right.
Build
now.
a fence
You
around
can't
our
opt
little
out.
Hey, that's what I was thinking, the way we was headed. But it's just here we're not supporting this.
Right.
That's what I needed to know.
We just understand the detriment that it can potentially be to our community if this goes through as a yes.
So we need to move for approval in the form of a motion.
If we're going to do a resolution, that would be, and that's what this asks for.
Move for
Consider
approval.
approval of a resolution.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Is there comment or discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, may I recognize?
You can.
Tish, if I'm not mistaken, we already have zoning laws, like, for like, you got so many acres, you can have a cow, or, can you explain that to us? You know, like, I know I had my property zoned, I forgot what it was, and it was back, a while back, because I found out I've had cows in Midland Valley for years and years and years, and come to find out, I wasn't grandfathered in. And so I had to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission and all that, and get zoned for this particular zoning at the time. So I can have cows on my property.
We have several agricultural type zonings, the two that, just agriculture, which does allow for farming. It does require a minimum of 10 acres, I believe, to get rezoned to that agriculture zoning classification. Then there was the urban agriculture, which is, I believe, what we went with on your property because it is a smaller parcel. And with that, then there was the identification of how many animals per acre to make sure that there was enough land to house the type of livestock. The city still does not have swine, does not allow any swine in the city limits, and unless you are, and even if you're zoned agriculture in the city limits, so there are certain, classifications or criteria that's not still allowed, even though you're zoned agriculture, and that is one of them. But
So if you zoned agriculture, you still can't have chickens.
you can have chickens, yes, you just can't have swine, pigs. There's still no.
Okay. Because I mean, myself personally, by me having, being zoned like that, and I had cattle, and when all my kids they're still growing up. It made a difference when you go outside and take a cow to the slaughter and get it killed. That saves you quite a bit of money, and that's my opinion. But I understand what Ms. Johnson's saying. If you live somewhere like Phoenix Village, a country club, somewhere like that, you don't want cows by you.
I don't know that what he's proposing isn't necessarily that. We support the freedom for people to, in communities like ours, to have a horse or a cow or some chickens or what have you. This particular proposal, as I understand it, is making rules that can affect our water tables and runoff into creeks and what have you, and it's the big corporate lobby that started off with just the right idea in mind, and the attorneys got a hold of it and said, well, while we're doing this, let's get this, let's get this, let's get that, and it was just a little overbearing, and there are those that feel, that's too overbearing. If you want to go back and ask for some reasonable things that we can work out, I think it would be supported. But the broad sweeping nature of what they're wanting to pass may not be in our best interest. Is that about right?
I think that's a great way of saying it. It's just too broad a language the way it is right now because, and that's the thing. I called I talked to our county commissioners. What is their impact and what did they know about it? Because one thing, we all depend on farming, and we want to be farm friendly. And I don't want our council, and I specifically don't want me to be looked at as that we don't want to be farm friendly because we do. But this language, as it is written right now, it is just too broad, and it can be very detrimental to our society. And so that's why I wanted to see is we as a city council could look at this and go, we just can't support this because we know the negative impact this can be to our city.
So this doesn't have anything to do with, what I was saying just a while ago about, say, for instance, a person got 2 acres of land, they can put a cow or anything like that. That won't
Doesn't have anything
to
to do with it now, but if this passed as it exists right now, it could have a future on some of our ordinances that would not allow us to do some things.
The other issue, Councilor Van, annexation. If we annex in property, it would follow ordinances. It would be beyond the December 31st, 2014 date, so we wouldn't be able to make any regulations for zoning as it relates to the prohibition of farming if we were to annex additional property in. For places within the city, you've got some level of protection because of the limiting language in the Constitution that's proposed. But you don't know exactly how the legislature is going to take this enabling language and modify it.
Okay.
So there is that risk of the broadness of it. And one other thing to go along with what Councilor Kale was talking about as it relates to the water table, if you have an industry such as farming that has constitutional protections, including the new technology in livestock production, it is going to have an effect on water quality. And whether it be upstream or even further upstream, that's going to affect the amount that we have to treat the water, which is going to be an increase in expense for us, and may have a negative effect on the taste of the water, and having to include the additional chlorines. And like we have with stormwater, we have got our stormwater impervious surface fees where we're able to capture some funding from individuals who we're able to capture some funding from individuals who cause the impact to our water. Mm-hmm. With this constitutional prohibition, we wouldn't be able to pass along those similar costs because it would be a protected constitutional right.
Yeah. I was just trying to get some clarity. If I sound like I didn't know, I was just trying to get some clarity.
And Mr. Tucker, am I right in understanding it this way, that if this were to pass by the statewide ballot, municipalities would basically have no authority over ordinances or anything pertaining to any type of farm? So people could basically set up anything almost any way, anywhere they want it, without any municipal oversight?
No. If you're in a neighborhood that prohibits it, that would be an ordinance that predated the December 31st deadline. And that's why I was saying it would have the major impact would be on annexation.
A growing city.
Yes. The other issue where somebody wanted to rezone property into an agricultural issue for agricultural zoning, there may be an issue, and we won't know this until it actually affects, whether our limiting language that we currently have, number of farm animals, chickens, things like that you're limited to, whether those would still be be able to be enforced, if not with this language, because while the ordinance was into effect, it didn't apply to a particular parcel of property after that. And so there's some unknowns that we just don't know until and if this passes, and how the legislature enables it, and how the courts interpret it later on. So there are just a lot of unknowns, and I think it goes back to what Councilor Johnson was saying. It's just very broad language.
Right now, where can you have chickens? Under our ordinance right now, where can you have chickens?
I think it's where it's agricultural zoning, which is generally, how many acres?
5 minimum.
5 or more? Okay.
So a person got a chicken next to you, and they're violating. Wow, some good eggs too, I'll tell you. I grew up on chickens in the yard.
Well, I think Norman has an ordinance where they've allowed urban farming where you can have 2 chickens or something like that for that purpose, but we don't currently have that.
Those are free-range chickens. They don't belong to anybody.
There you go. That's it.
All right, we've got a motion and we've got a second. Are there other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
No.
Janie Boydston.
This is to support the,
Support a resolution.
Resolution.
okay, yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 10.
Consider approval to pay the annual license and support fees to SunGuard in the amount of $59,975.13, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Cummings.
All right, Mayor, Council. Basically, this is just get approval to pay our annual licensing and support invoice to SunGuard so we can continue on with the business of the city. It also provides for upgrades and support of the same software.
What does this software do?
Payroll, utility billing, business licenses, code enforcement, cash receipts, general accounting, accounts receivable, land parcel management, and occupational licenses.
And this is the best deal we have on everything, right?
Well, it's our current system. It's a system that we've had since before I got here.
2000.
Since 2000.
Do we have to ever go out for a new bid on this?
On the maintenance and support, no, because there's only one company that can provide this, and that is SunGuard.
How do we know? Have we checked lately?
They're the only company that can provide support on their software.
Can we go for new software? Can we look to see if it's cheap?
Well, after Pam Bates retires,
Exactly.
switching software is not an easy, quick, or painless process.
And that's an understatement.
Right.
I'm just asking here.
I know, and I'm telling you, it's not something to be entered into lightly. I would think we would need a compelling reason to change.
I move the approval.
Motion and a second. Other comments or discussion?
I have one further question. Even if we didn't make any changes today, have we at least explored, I'm following up with Council Hall's questions, have we at least explored what that would look like and what the cost savings would be if we considered doing something differently?
If we looked at moving to another software
I mean, just have
package?
we looked at it? I mean, I think at some point it'd be worth us looking at what it is. If we did something different, would it save us money and not have to pay SunGuard this type of fee?
We could look at it. Looking at other systems such as our court system, even the 911 system, the support fees are not out of line. They're pretty much in line with others that I've seen in the industry. I haven't gone to look at specific packages lately to do that. This renewal is due next month. So it's something that we do need to act on, because again, if we do look at changing software, it's going to be a years-long process.
Yeah, and I don't suggest that we do it before the vote on tonight or
Right.
when it expires. But I'm wondering.
It's always good to look for a new product.
Yeah.
a new way to do things.
Sure, we can keep our eyes open. So far,
Preferably after Pam retires, the way she's acting.
So that's a given.
Exactly. So no, it's not out of the question to go and see what others have to offer at all.
Have you done that? Are there any of your peers, other cities that you go, we got a good system here, or well, we like SunGuard, but we found another one, or
I've spoken with other cities, and pretty much we all sound the same. Yeah, it works, but we don't like this about it, or I've never found a city that says, "Oh my God, this is the greatest stuff we've ever had." everybody's got, what they have, and they have their likes and dislikes about it. So sometimes it's trading, one gripe for another gripe.
Off the cuff, are you aware of 3 softwares out there that do this?
Probably not 3. I know Encode is a strong contender in the municipal market, as is SunGuard. I'm not.
What you might do sometime to satisfy Councilman Hall, and you don't need to do it tomorrow, but over the course of the next 6 months or year, if you run across some of these other systems, check into them briefly, not exhaustively, and see what their fees, their licensing fees, and their maintenance fees are. Just to share kind of a comparison where we are. Could very well be that they're all really close anyway.
Sure.
But apparently he's curious and.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
All right, we've got a motion and a second on this item. Is there other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
No.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 11.
Consider approval to renew a 3-year contract with Sudden Link Communication to provide wide area network connectivity and internet services to City Hall and Hatbox Sports Complex, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Cummings again.
Mayor and council, the contract with Suddenlink, another 3-year contract with Suddenlink, would open up some avenues of savings for us. We are currently going to be closing our water distribution plant, so we'll be taking the fiber that currently feeds that away.
Relocating.
Relocating.
Well, hard stop for a second.
to the central garage, and then connecting central garage and facilities by using a wireless backhaul. That would save us about $6,000 annually. Also, by us renewing the contract, it will also reduce the cost of our internet service that we get to City Hall by $100 a month. So that's another $1,200. So these two savings together will offset the additional fees that we incur by having Hatbox Wi-Fi out there. The cost of that is approximately $7,200 a year.
Okay, help me understand this layman term. I thought we couldn't enter into more than a year-to-year contract.
There's an opt-out clause in the agreement.
So that makes it, we can do a 3-year then if there's an opt-out?
We insert language which says it's subject to the availability and allocation of funding. So if you don't allocate funding for the next fiscal year, the contract basically goes away.
Okay. And if we find a better deal, does that mean that we can't opt out?
That is not a way to opt out.
Right.
Simply by not funding it.
Okay, just checking.
I will say, Councilor Hall, that I did. In fact, I was going to bring this to council 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago, and AT&T stopped by to talk to me. So I said, okay, let me take a look at what you've got. The savings that they presented, we were able to save on one section, on one part, but not on another. So it was pretty much a straight wash. So there was no real savings.
How's our Hatbox connections doing?
To the best of my knowledge, they're doing great. Sports SFM is using the Wi-Fi, and they've not complained.
So, Chris, if I go out there and watch a ball game, can I get on the Hatbox Wi-Fi?
You should. The public Wi-Fi is still open.
Because I thought we cut it off for a little bit. Did we not?
No, we were going to, but then after G-Fest, it was scheduled to be cut off. But then I was told to keep it going for the Gap Band, and then from there, Sports SFM wanted to use it, so I was told to keep it up.
Okay, that's
But
awesome.
we did drop it from the 500 meg service to a 10 meg service.
Okay. Move for approval.
Got a motion, got a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 12.
Consider approval of the confirmation of the Board of County Commissioner appointments of David White, Charles Raper, and John Saxon to the Muskogee City County Trust Port Authority to serve a 4-year term through August 30th, 2020.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor, members of the council, this item was provided to us and was discussed last week in committee. But as I was saying, Muskogee City Port Authority provided us a letter indicating the appointment of these 3 individuals by the Board of County Commissioners under the trust agreement. We have, I believe, 6 appointments, and they have 7. They are required to review and confirm ours, and similarly, we are required to review and confirm theirs. So the 3 names brought forth today that they have appointed, that they're seeking our confirmation, are David White, Charles Raper, and John Saxon. Happy to answer any questions.
Move the approval.
Motion. Get a motion and a second. Comment or discussion?
Yeah, I signed up, Mayor.
You don't need to sign up to do that. You can do that right there from your seat, sir. And you've got the 3 minutes or 5 minutes.
Okay. Tonight, I'm gonna do it from my seat.
Okay.
I went to the county commissioners meeting, and I told them I had a good appointee for them. And on this port board, I'll say it and say it time and time again, we need more diversity. We want more diversity on the fire department. We want more diversity on the police department. But it fails to amaze me that we can't get diversity on this Port Authority board. And it's only one minority on this Port Authority board. She's a woman, and she's a black female. And I have a problem with that. The man I was going to appoint, he was the CFO of Griffin's. He owned his own hardware store in Haskell. Very qualified gentleman. But the county commissioner said, well, maybe next time. Well, it shouldn't have been no maybe next time. It should have been now. These gentlemen that you just named, they've been on this board for 16 years. 16 years. But I have nothing against these gentlemen on this board. But 16 years and add 4 more, that's 20 years. And we're trying to help our city to show our citizens how diverse we are, and we still put the same people over and over and over on these boards. I just have a problem with that myself personally, and I'm pretty sure other people have a problem with that. But anytime, like I say, next time in August of 2017, I will still be on the council, and I will still, if it's a county commissioner appointee, I will still go up there and give them some names of minorities, Indians, Spanish, whatever. Same thing here on this council. We did the same thing, reappointed the same people over and over. I'm the only councilman up here that put somebody new and a minority on that board. A city of 40,000 people that we live in here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, that's wrong. And I'll say it and say it and say it again. I've said it at every meeting. It's wrong. And I'm pretty sure people are looking at it, that it's wrong. But like I say, I know we're going to vote yes. Y'all going to vote yes for it. But I totally disagree. We need some diversity. So next time we have a problem here in Muskogee by saying we need diversity here, you remember the times that we voted for this county commissioner, also for the city councilman to put people on this port authority, and we left them out. We left the minority out, Indian, Spanish, Russian, whatever. We left them out. And I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, can I make a comment?
You certainly can.
You know, as I've been contemplating what you've been talking about, Mr. Van, it came to my attention and realization that when I served with Mayor Stratton, and when I served with Mayor John Tyler Hammonds, and Mayor Coburn, you've said when I've served with you, it's always been the mayor's responsibility to appoint all of these board members. A few years ago, Mayor, you made the suggestion that we now as a council rotate all these appointees. So now you've given up quite a bit of authority and power by having the authority to name all the board members. Mr. Van, I think this council has already adopted some policies that are always going to create some diversity. And it really hit home when I read Reverend Walker's Proud to be an Okie from Muskogee. He said diversity is more than a skin color, it's your people. I just know my circle of friends are different than Mr. Reed's. Mr. Reed's are different than yours. Yours are different than Mr. Van's. and Mr. Van, yours is probably different than Ms. Boyston's, and so on. We've already built in a set of diversities by taking away you giving up the power to appoint all these board members. So I think we're on the right track, Mr. Van, that as a board, we can put whoever we want. It's not just from one set of spheres of acquaintances and friends. So I'm kind of proud that we are going to accomplish what you're doing, is we appoint members after members after members. So I just been contemplating what you've been saying. I think we're ahead of the game versus where we've been. So anyway, I just need to put that out there that we all now have a chance. Used to, it was just the mayor. So I think we're there.
We all have a chance, which I agree, and because we have that chance, Councilman Hall over there, he's the one brought it to our attention to do this, to put for all the councilmen to appoint someone on these boards. What I'm saying is, we are doing better than we were. The mayors before Mayor Coburn, I don't know how they did it, but I do know this. It hadn't been a black minority on the Port Authority since 1995. But we need to put people on these boards, but for some reason, we can get people on the rest of these boards, Foundation Board, other boards, the Muskogee Hospital Board. But when it comes to this Foundation Board, it was 3 of us up here. We had the opportunity to put a minority on the board, but we failed to do it. Same thing with the county commissioners. That's all I'm saying. We got the authority and power to do it, but why come we keep putting the same people to do it 20 years? I have a problem with that. Okay. That's just I don't mean no disrespect. Please, believe me, I don't. I just believe in what's right. And I don't mean no disrespect to you, Mr. Gully. And that's the fact.
Well, and I'd like to just put a little tidbit in here. I noticed you didn't say I have my own friends, because I have everybody as a friend in this town.
I didn't want to board the
I
rest of the
probably
council.
bridge more bridges in this town than a lot of people on this committee. I would like to say this, though. If you have people that want to be on a board, my number is 918-869-2559. If you want to be on the board, I don't care what color you are, whether you're male, female, whatever. I've got 6 positions that I need to fill, and I would love for those people to call me.
There you go.
And I'm serious. If they want to be on a board, I got 6 positions that they can call me, and I will fill out a piece of paper, sign my name to it, give it to Pam Bates, and I'll be happy to sign it. I've asked people from every walk of life in this town to be on a board, and they're like, I don't have time. It's kind of like being a president of a little league football program. I ain't got time to coach, but, there's my kid for 2 hours, Dan.
There you go.
Hey, you show me some people that want to do it, and I'll put their name on a piece of paper for you.
Well, I'll agree that we can always do better, but I think that we've made some good steps, and Councilman Gully's made a good point there, and we can always do better, but we're making good steps, and I think those steps ought to be acknowledged.
We'll
keep up the good work.
I'll take you up on that, Councilman Hall.
Hey, just
Good
tell
motion
me
and a
which.
second. Are there other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. That concludes our agenda items. For a non-agenda item, Mr. Van, you had signed up to speak for 3 minutes regarding Mr. Martin. You can stay right there if you see it if you'd like.
I'll do it this time down here. Ivory Van, 911 Holden, Muskogee, Oklahoma. It was a sad day for me today when I got the call about Mr. Martin passing away. Mr. Martin was a good man. Every time I see him, he's always smiling. And I'd like to give my sympathy from the council, from the mayor, to his family, that our heart aches too. My heart is aching right now because, God, he doesn't make mistakes. Everybody that lives on earth, we have our own time to go. And today was Mr. Martin's time. But I'll say to the family, just keep putting your trust in God and just, because things, it's going to be hard at first, but things will get better. Time heals all wounds. And I remember when Mr. Martin took me out to the cemetery when I first became a councilman. He showed me all around the cemetery. And I had a kind of like a little joke with him. I said, Mr. Martin, where's the black people buried here in Green Hill? So he said, well, he showed me that too. And I used to tease him. I said, you know what? If I pass away, you know where I want to go? I want to go to the front row. That's what I told him. And when I see him coming in, you know, for meetings and stuff, and we would still kid each other about that. And also we would kid each other about, he said, Ivory, don't go up there and give him a hard time. Just calm down. Don't give him a hard time tonight. You know, but like I say, Mr. Martin was a very loving man, and I mean, that hurt me today when I heard of his passing. But like I say, to his family, God is still in control, and from me as a councilman and the rest of the councilmen and the mayor, we'll be praying for your family through this hard time, and God will take care of you. Thank you very much.
I'm assuming that when we hear of the arrangements will be made, that we'll get that communicated to council.
Yes, thank you.
As quickly as we can, and we'll certainly concur with Mr. Ivory Van's comments. That concludes our agenda items, and we don't have anybody signed up to speak additionally, so let's go to item number 13A.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the lawsuit styled Lois Ivy versus the City of Muskogee in District Court for Muskogee County, Oklahoma, case number CV-07-1730, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
We'll entertain a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. We'll now consider ourselves in executive session. If you'd please excuse us.
I saw the funny
Now
sign.
reconvene from executive session. Roll call, please.
Give him the best recommendations I can give him.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Item 13A, Mr. Beasy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, council did convene an executive session to discuss the lawsuit style Lois Ivy versus City of Muskogee in District Court for Muskogee County, Oklahoma, case number CV-07-1730. And after being fully briefed and discussing the matter, I believe no action is necessary.
That completes our agenda for this evening's meeting. Thank you